Somber, slightly suspenseful music fades in and then fades to a low background level. Hey everyone, welcome back. There's a unique kind of peace you find on a hiking trail, surrounded by the quiet hum of nature. But sometimes that isolation can turn from serene to sinister in the blink of an eye. The stories we're about to explore are chilling reminders that even in the most beautiful landscapes, the unexpected can be lurking just around the corner. These aren't campfire tales. They are real accounts from people who went for a simple hike and came back with a story that would haunt them forever. Let's get into it. Our first story comes from a seasoned hiker named Mark, who was trekking through a remote section of the Appalachian Trail. He'd been on the trail for days and hadn't seen another soul. One afternoon, he found a small, abandoned campsite. It was odd the tent was still up, a sleeping bag unrolled inside, but everything was covered in a thick layer of pine needles and leaves, like it had been there for months. He felt a chill despite the warm air. On a nearby tree, he noticed a series of deep, frantic-looking scratches. Not from an animal, they looked almost human. He decided to press on, quickening his pace. That night, from his own tent, he heard a faint, strange whistling sound echoing through the trees. It sounded melodic, but completely out of place. He never figured out who left that camp, or what made those sounds, but he said the feeling of being watched followed him until he was safely back in his car. Next, we have a story from a woman named Sarah, who was hiking with her dog Buster in a national forest in Colorado. They were on a well-marked loop trail when Buster started acting strangely. He was a friendly, happy-go-lucky golden retriever, but he suddenly started growling at a thicket of bushes, the fur on his back standing straight up. Sarah called him, but he wouldn't budge. She tried to pull him along, but he planted his feet. Uneasy, she scanned the woods around them. That's when she saw it. Deep within the shadows, she caught a glimpse of a face watching her. It wasn't an animal. It was gaunt, pale, and just wrong. The eyes were wide and unblinking. Before she could even scream, the face vanished back into the foliage. Sarah didn't wait to see what it was. She scooped up Buster and ran the entire way back to the trailhead, her heart pounding in her chest. She never hiked that trail again. This third account is particularly unsettling. It comes from a group of 3 friends backpacking in the Pacific Northwest. On their second day, they came across a single bright red child's shoe sitting perfectly in the middle of the trail. There were no other signs of anyone, no footprints, nothing. It was just there. They thought it was strange, but figured a kid must have dropped it. They took a photo and continued on. About a mile later, they found the matching red shoe, placed just as deliberately in the center of the path. Now, they were officially creeped out. It felt like someone was leaving a trail for them, or perhaps toying with them. The forest suddenly seemed much darker and more menacing. They decided to cut their trip short and hike back out. As they walked, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being followed, always hearing the faint snap of a twig just out of sight. Our final story is perhaps the most disturbing. A man named Alex was doing a solo day hike in a state park known for its caves. He decided to explore a small, unmarked cave just off the main path. He didn't go deep, just a few yards in where the sunlight still reached. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he saw words scrawled on the cave wall in what looked like dried mud. It read, "Don't look behind you." A wave of pure adrenaline and fear hit him. Every instinct screamed at him to turn and run, but the message paralyzed him for a second. He could hear his own ragged breathing echoing in the small space. He described it as the longest moment of his life. Finally, forcing himself not to look back, he slowly backed out of the cave entrance and sprinted down the trail without stopping. He'll never know who wrote that message or what he might have seen if he had turned around. He doesn't want to know. These trails, places of beauty and adventure, also hold stories that remind us to stay aware and respect the wild. Nature is powerful, and sometimes it's what's hidden within it that is the most terrifying. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore these unsettling stories. If you have a true hiking story you'd like to share, leave it in the comments below. I read all of them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Stay safe out there, and until next time.